If an executive coaching client comes to me and says they're working 12 to 14 hours a day or more, the first thing I like to do is ask about delegation. What I've found that there's mainly two types of delegators in terms of leaders. The first one are leaders who don't delegate enough. There's things on their plate that they could delegate more. Or the second type, they do delegate, but they don't always delegate the way that might work for others. So let's talk about leaders who don't delegate enough first. Here are the most common reasons not to delegate that I often hear. Do any of these sound familiar to you? Well, if I do the task myself, I know it will be done right. Or, well, these projects are just too important to screw up. My direct reports just don't have what it takes to get the job done. It's just easier for me to do it myself. It takes less time if I just do it alone. It will take more time to train someone else than it would just to do it myself. Maybe that sounds familiar. If so, let me explain a couple of different delegation styles and see where you think you fit into these two different styles. So the first style that I like to call see you at the finish line. You're at point A, you want to get to point C, you look at your employee or team member and you say, this is what C looks like. This is the vision for what C looks like. Good luck, see you at the finish line. And those are the people who are independent, they want to work on their own, they have a clear vision of what that C looks like, and they just get there. That's the first style. The second style is what I call metered with milestones. We're at point A, we need to get to point C. But in between, maybe every 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever, there will be milestones. We're going to connect. We're going to make sure we understand what success looks like at each step along the way that allows us to get to that vision of C. When I do this exercise with executives, I'll ask them, which style do you most prefer? And interestingly, most people say, style number 1, give it to me. I like to just take the reins and go with it, and I'll make it happen. And interestingly, what we typically do, we delegate to others the way that we like to be delegated to. But here's the thing, some people don't want to be delegated that way. Some people like the idea of having those metered with milestones approaches that we just talked about. Now, so I ask you, if you haven't already talked to your team members, ask them which of these delegation styles do they prefer. I actually like to show employees the two options and say, which ones do you prefer? Which one do you prefer? I remember once I had a very particularly clever person start to work with me, and I shared the two, and I said, which of these two do you prefer? And the person said, here's the thing. I prefer delegation method number 1. I love to go with it and make it happen on my own. But the truth is I'm still fairly new, so I think what I'd like to do, let's start with metered with milestones, and eventually I'll move into that first meet you at the finish line style. So again, find the style that's right for you. Find the style that's right for the team members you have working for you. Good luck with your delegation. I look forward to hearing from you.